Let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about DCPS summer learning, and I'm really excited for the guests that we have here today. I'm gonna pass it over to our presenters. So Jen and Matthew, take it away.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. My name is Matthew Reef. I work for DCPS in the Office of Teaching and Learning, and I am the Director of Extended Learning and Academic Recovery. And I am joined here tonight with Jen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer Rosenbaum. I am our Deputy Chief of Acceleration at DC Public Schools. So work really closely with Matthew, as well as many of our other colleagues in our teaching and learning team. And I'm excited to be here tonight and talk to you about summer. So as we're getting started, we would actually love to just get a little bit of engagement in the chat. Would love for folks to drop a note in there. What is it that you love most about summer? I can go and just share. I have two young kids. I have a kindergartner and a 3-year-old, and I love going to the pool with them. And I'm very determined this summer to help my kindergartner learn to swim, as he has not wanted to take off his floaties ever. So that is our project for this summer. I would love to hear from some more folks in the chat. Or Matthew, do you want to share what you love most about summer?
What I love most about the summer is visiting our summer school sites. So I'm hoping to drum up some more interest in our summer school programs that we'll share with you guys. And so for me, actually summer, thankfully I'm a bachelor, so summer is my busiest time for work, visiting all of our different summer school sites, trying to stay cool. But yes, I don't blame your Jen, I don't blame your son for not wanting to take off the floaties. I get a little nervous around water as well, to be honest.
Excellent. Other folks, feel free to put some notes in the chat about what it is that you love most about summer. And we will get started with our content for tonight. I'm going to turn it back to Matthew.
Okay, thank you. All right. So like Jen mentioned, tonight we want to focus on our summer school programming that is focused on elementary age students. And should there happen to be questions for students outside of elementary school, we may be able to touch on that as well if you do have questions. But our main focus here is on the elementary grades. So the first point here is why do we have summer learning at DCPS, and what is the focus of our programming? What are our main points behind it? And our main points are 3 for this summer. And one is academics. As you see here, we want to have a focus on our core subjects of literacy, reading, math. We also will be touching, or more than touching, we'll be digging into topics related to science and to history, social studies. We also want to blend in sports and drama and arts in our programs. Later, I think we'll get to talk a little bit about our curriculum, but we've worked hard to prepare a curriculum that has a strong academic focus, but is also enriching and fun. We want to, our second goal, or big goal for our students, is to be able to not just create, but strengthen student to student and student to adult relationships, so that students become better socialized, especially after what's been going on with the pandemic that's been affecting our world, but also to get better into the opportunity to meet new friends, to develop better school routines and protocols, etc. So we think that our summer program will be a great way for them to get into that. And then lastly, we want to focus on the fact that our programming is free of charge. And we know that a lot of programming out there, which is great as well, happens to cost a lot of money. And so I think one of our main selling points, if you will, is the fact that our 5-week program is free for families. All right. So what is available? So the landscape, the universe of elementary programs are that our largest one is that we are offering what we call our elementary acceleration program, or also known as summer acceleration academies. We're offering them at 18 different schools throughout the city, with all schools invited to attend at one of those 18. We'll get to that later as well. But this largest program of ours, the Elementary Acceleration Program, is open currently to students that are right now in grades pre-K 4 up to students who are currently in 4th grade. Another way of thinking of that is students who are rising or going up into students that are going up into kindergarten for the fall, or going up it through kids going up into 5th grade. But in other words, kids that are right now in pre-K 4 all the way up to kids that are right now in 4th grade. At this moment, it is open to all students. We will share again more about how to sign up for it. It is through the DCPS website. We do still have plenty of spaces left. There are, of those 18 sites, we do have some sites that are full or have certain grade levels that are full, but overall in the city, we still have plenty of spots. That is, again, one of our largest programs in terms of the sheer amount of students that we can invite. The second program that we are proud to share with you is our what's known as LSAP, and that is English Learner Summer Academic Program. That is a program that is invitation only. So unlike the previous program that I just mentioned, this is a program that you have to be invited to. It is focused on students who are English learners. So students who are new to the English language, new to our country in some cases. That program is also for students who are currently in pre-K 4 through 4th grade. As in the fall, they will be in kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. And then lastly, in terms of elementary programming, we have another invitation only program, and that is called Extended School Year, or ESY. That program is for students with special needs, and students with special needs who have this particular program as part of their overall educational experience. So these last two programs that I mentioned, the LSAP and ESY, they are invitation only, and those programs will be reaching out to parents very soon. But our main program, the one that you see at the top, Elementary Acceleration, that is open to all families of students in those grades. All right. And then lastly, for me, what does the day look like at Summer Acceleration? So as I was basically mentioning, of these three programs, our largest one in terms of just the sheer size of the program, and the one I want to focus on here, although I'm happy to answer questions about the other programs, but the main one here I want to share with you guys is the Summer Acceleration Program. And what happens during that day? Well, the day is approximately 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We do open a little earlier than that for breakfast, free breakfast. We do serve free lunch, snack in the afternoon, but it begins in the morning between 8:30 and 9, 9 for academics, with an arrival in a community building activity, which we also refer to as social emotional learning, but an SEL opener or community building opener that many of our students are familiar with in the regular school year, followed by hands-on enriching academic instruction. So as I mentioned in an earlier slide, students will, during the course of the morning of the 9 to 12 period of the morning of the day, students will be experiencing a hands-on experience with literacy, math, science, and social studies, oftentimes integrated or blended together, not separated out to this is just our reading time, this is just our math time, etc. After that morning of academic instruction and hands-on learning, we do have lunch and recess from around noon to 1-ish. And we then invite and hope that our students will stay with us. We hope that families will let their students stay with us to continue on the day as we shift to non-academic enrichment for the afternoon period. And during that time, we will have a variety of options for students that they could be potentially involved in. Some that are run through trusted partner organizations that are vetted through DCPS that involve topics like sports, other types of athletic activities, drama, art, etc. It could be any of those different topics. Or it could be a program that is run through DCPS's own employees. But the point is, we are hoping that our students will stay with us for that period up to around 4 o'clock. It can vary slightly based on the site. And then lastly, by around 4 o'clock, as I mentioned, give or take, the day ends, it wraps up, and we have dismissal, and we welcome the student back again the following day for a total of 5 weeks, full day. And Jen, I think I turned over to you. All right, take it away,
Sounds
please.
great. Thanks, Matthew. So yeah, like Matthew mentioned, our summer acceleration program is 5 weeks. So you can see the dates here on the slide. It's July 5th through August 5th. So essentially school ends, there's about a week in between, and then summer programming will start right up. The hours are around 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They may vary slightly by site. They'll be confirmed in the spring. And we do have 18 locations that are all around the city. And so each school, depending on where your child attends school during the school year, they'll be at a summer site with other students and staff from their school year school, as well as a few others. So basically, there's little groups of schools, which we'll see in a second, so that they're still with students and staff that they know from the year, and the relationships that they build over the summer can transfer into the school year. We think that's really important. That was something that was very powerful from the summer programming last year. And so we're excited to be able to maintain that. You can see here too, and I see it's in the chat as well, all of the info about summer is on our Reopen Strong website. And that info is updated if anything changes or as new programming becomes available. It's all on there. And there's a big registration button at the top to click on, where you can actually sign your child up for summer programming. The one note that I will just draw your attention to is that the registration does need to be done on a computer. It can't be done currently on a mobile phone or tablet. That will be coming in the future, but for right now, it is just on a desktop computer. And so you can see the sites here. These are also all on the website that's in the chat. You can look up by your school year school and see where your summer location is. So just because your school isn't listed as a summer location, your child can still go. It's just they will attend at a different site, but still with their same students and staff from the year. So you can see the schools that are in blue at the top, those are the host. In the darker blue, those are the host sites. And then the lighter blue, those are the schools that are feeding into those host sites for the summer. Any of the schools that have a little asterisk next to them, those are where the English learner summer academic programs will also be co-hosting with the acceleration program. And again, I would just encourage you to go to the website so you can quickly and easily find your school and where your child would go for the summer. So a common question, I think families are always, I know I am always asking, like, how can I engage? How can I help? First thing you can do is register your child for our summer acceleration program this summer. We can register your child. We would love to have them. And then when they are at our summer program, talk to your child's teacher, similar to how you would during the school year. Ask them what they're learning, ask how you can help, ask about the relationships that they're forming. And same with your child, right? They'll be doing very similar types of things in the school year as they do in the summer. So ask them what books they're reading, ask them what projects they're doing, ask who they're playing with. They'll have plenty of time to engage and socialize with peers. And that's a really important part of the work this summer too. And finally, just a few more details around registration and the logistics. So you can see the website is right there. It's also in the chat. We would encourage you to register soon. Most of our sites still have space, but they are filling up. And so if any sites fill up, we do start a wait list and we'll happily pull kids off the wait list as additional spots become available. Just to note what I mentioned earlier, that you do need to do the registration on a computer, not a phone or a tablet. And if you need support accessing a computer, your child's school can always help. Or if you have questions or concerns, you're always welcome to email our summer email address, which is right there on the screen as well. And we can either answer your question or get you connected to someone who can answer your question. And it's in the chat too. Perfect. And so with that, we're happy to take some questions from the group and go cover anything that we might have missed or that's on your brain after our presentation.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Matthew. So folks, you are able to unmute if you would like. You can unmute and ask your questions, and you can also type them in the chat. I'm happy to read those aloud for the group. So I'll give you a minute or so to think of a question and ask. But in the meanwhile, we have a couple of questions that have come in from the registrations. So I'm just gonna ask those. One of the questions that came in is what summer sessions would be available for children ages like 4 years old? Maybe like pre-K 3 students going through pre-K 4.
Well, good question. Unfortunately, so depending on the age of the student, unfortunately. So our programs begin with those students who are currently in pre-K 4. So at this point, unfortunately, we do not have programming that's run by the district ourselves anyway, for students who are in pre-K 3, but for those that are in pre-K 4 and above, this program right here would be targeted, would be what you would want to sign up for.
Thank you. I do want to put a plug in that our early childhood education team is putting a list of programs available around the city for children in like early childhood pre-K 3. So that will be available on the DCPS website. Also, if you go to the to our bit.ly to register for any upcoming parent universities, we have a session on other ways of engaging with your children, engaging in learning during the summer beyond the DCPS learning programs. All right, so we have another question. What is the ratio of student to teachers for summer learning programs?
Jen, do you know that? Do you remember that off the top of your head?
I think it's in rising first graders through rising fifth graders. I think it's 22 to 1. Does that sound right, Matthew?
Yeah, if it was class was filled. 22
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's filled, exactly. And then the younger students have a slightly lower ratio. Yep. It's similar to the school year.
Yeah, so similar to the school year. Thank you.
Yeah.
The other question that we have is, will students have teachers from the host school? Maybe not necessarily the regular teacher, but a teacher from the host school.
Yep. So in the same way that students are sort of being clustered together. So you saw in that earlier slide, it's about 3 to 5 schools that are grouped together for summer programming. The staff are similarly grouped together. So you'll see, your child will see teachers that they're familiar with from the school year. To your point, it may not be exactly their classroom teacher or their person that they've interacted with every day all last year, but it will be the same types of familiar faces. And that was something we did really intentionally because we know the importance of those relationships and building that up over the summer. And so we wanted to make sure we could maintain that.
Okay. what are the teachers going to teach during summer school? Is like, what curriculum is used? Is it similar to the school year curriculum?
That is a good question. Yes, it is. It is similar to the school year. I would like to say it's made to be a little bit more fun and engaging. Not that it's not fun during the school year too, but specifically our summer program is meant to be, with the curriculum is meant to be what we call integrated. And so by that, I mean that instead of having like, this is just our math class, like this half hour is just math or just science, most of the academic period is an integrated approach where you would be doing like something that is interdisciplinary, which means it has a couple different subjects woven into it at the same time. So that approach is one that is often a little bit different than what the students do during the regular school year. Yes, and we do have I will say there is a strong focus on literacy and math as well. There could be some time where the students are engaged for short bursts of time with just math or literacy, but most of the academic time is in what we call an integrated approach of interdisciplinary learning.
Thank you. Is there any language immersion program offered during the summer? That's more for like Spanish immersion or Chinese immersion?
Not that I'm aware of. Not through the district this year, unfortunately, that I'm aware of. However, I will say, this is probably not for this audience, but for our older students, I am happy to say for our middle school students, so I know that's a little bit older, we will be offering Spanish, to take Spanish during 5 weeks to get a leg up over the summer, so to speak, which because it is a graduation requirement. So we will be having that, which I know is not quite immersion, but that's also for our older students. But unfortunately, as part of our main DCPS summer program, we at this point anyway, do not have an immersion program, but that is definitely food for thought because Jen and I are constantly thinking about ways that we can enhance our program, because every year DCPS has summer programming and every year we try to make it better and better. So thank you for that question, and we'll take it as a suggestion.
And the only other thing I would add, I echo everything Matthew said. We do have the English Learner Summer Academic Program, which is not immersion, but it is for students who are newly learning English and who are need some extra practice. And so it is explicitly designed to be a fun, engaging, enriching summer experience, specifically for students who are learning English.
Thank you. So still keeping in this idea about like what students are learning, are students participating, because it is like acceleration, are students participating in activities that are meeting their individual needs, or is it just like or is it a general curriculum that they're following?
So great question. We have basically taken, again, when I mentioned that like integrated approach, the idea was to kind of give them some curricular experiences that they probably would not get during the regular school year. And so what I mean by that is most third graders, for example, have a specific time that is like math class, science class, social studies class, reading, English language arts, whatever it's called, whatever, the school is labeling it. And so the approach that we're taking, and one of the reasons why I'm mentioning the integrated approach again, is because by blending the subjects together in a way, again, interdisciplinary, we feel like it leads to sparking students' interest and understanding how these subjects can come together in the real world. And a lot of these units are enrichment based in the sense that they're on topics that they might not normally cover during the school year. And so we like that approach for summer, because summer is meant to be a time to decompress a little bit, but yet to still, it's not to throw learning out the window, but to have a little bit more fun with it. And so we feel proud of this integrated interdisciplinary approach that we take to our learning, because we do feel like it helps to kind of unleash students' potential interests in the subjects when they see the subjects taught in a different way, a more blended way, a more holistic way than they see during the school year, or that they often see during the school year anyway.
Mhm. Thank you. So when the students are learning, are they staying with the same teacher in the same class daily, or are they switching it up, or does that vary by grade?
So this could be, generally speaking, they have stayed with that same teacher. So the academics is about 3 hours. We do provide the option for, as Jen was mentioning, we'll have 18 elementary sites throughout the city. And we are allowing the sites to customize a little bit to a certain degree their approach. So what I would say is that we don't have like a strict rule that it must be the same teacher the whole 3 hours. But in general, it often will, but there could be, it really would need to depend on the site, because based on the scheduling of the classes, there could be, this kids switching between 2 different teachers, et cetera. And then obviously, the major switch up, if you will, is when after lunch and recess, they get to participate in the non-academic enrichment activities in the afternoon. And that's with a whole different set of adults and a whole different, kind of vibe to the day.
So who would be the best person to ask? Is there like a summer school, summer learning, person at each side that we could ask that question?
So there will be, yes. I mean, in the meantime, I and my team are happy. Jen and I and our teams are happy to answer those questions through our email address, which I see that you guys have down there, or in here somewhere. It is actually different for our, we have one email address for our elementary and one for secondary. But basically the idea is that what we're doing currently is hiring a summer school principal or leader for each of the 18 sites. And they will have a person who's known as an instructional coordinator that ensures that academics are rigorous during the day, helps the teachers, et cetera. And when those folks are in place, when these employees are in place, they will be probably the best person to go to know what that particular site, what their daily schedule is going to look like, et cetera.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So there are 2 more questions that are around more like logistics for the day for families. The first one is, so the programs are tentatively 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is there, because of those times and family schedules, is there any like out of time programming, like after care or before care for the summer session?
That's a good question. Jen, what did you want to answer?
No, I was happy to give you a break. I feel like you've been fielding.
Okay, well, I mean, the answer is not, well, I'll let Jen give the bad news, so to speak. I mean, but what I will say is, the day should start, the academics should start at 9. They may be invited in for breakfast sooner than that. The programs, what we say about 4 is that like some programs might go slightly longer than 4, depending on what organizations are brought in to work with the students. So that's why we just say on average, the programs will end at 4, but what we mean by that is that it's not going to vary every day. Like, oh, you have to be here at this time. It will be a consistent time each day, and it could possibly be past 4. And actually, I'll just finish. Sorry, Jen, but unfortunately, no, like that is the end. Unfortunately, we do not have after school after that. So the way we look at it is that the main academics occur in the morning, and then our non-academics, almost like after school programming, if you will, actually is that 1 to 4 period. But no, unfortunately, unlike the school year where many schools have either out of school time, OSTP, or other providers, ours does end with the non-academics, and that's it for the day.
Okay. And then the last question around like logistics, things like that. Are there any like qualifications or anything families can do when they apply to the summer learning programs that can help them out if they're like on the waiting list, if they end up on the waiting list?
So at this point, enrollment is open for everyone. And so the wait lists fill up and we keep track of the order and we'll invite students in off of that. This year, for the first time, we did open enrollment a little bit early for a small subset of families, for students who are identified as potentially really benefiting from that extra summer boost. But at this point, it's open for everyone. So there's nothing extra anyone could or should do in terms of getting a spot. And like I mentioned earlier, I think most of our sites do have space. There's a handful that are filled up, but the vast majority still have space. So definitely would encourage you to sign up sooner rather than later in case there's a boon in the next couple of weeks. But hopefully you'll still be able to get a spot if you're signing up now.
So those were the main questions that came in from the chat and like the registration. I want to give families just like, you know, a couple of seconds to like process everything. If there are any follow-ups, please feel free to enter them in the chat. And I believe you have the option to unmute if needed. So yes, let's take a minute to process. As we're doing that, there are other questions that were like frequent questions that came up in general. So we also wanted to touch on those. So Jen or Matthew, if you guys could just touch on the questions that are on the screen again.
Sure, we can give Matthew a break. I feel like he did the heavy lifting for that Q&A.
Tell you, Jen, now.
But Matthew, feel free to chime in
No
if I missed anything.
Right.
So each student is assigned a summer site based on their school year, which we mentioned earlier. And in general, we really try to keep students at that assigned site. We typically don't want to move them around because then that means pulling them away from their peers and their teachers that they know. If there's a truly extenuating circumstance, you're welcome to send us an email and see what we can do. But in general, folks, we like to keep students at the assigned site to build those relationships and consistency. In terms of travel, we know families want to travel, either take a long weekend or a trip. If your child's going to miss a day or two here or there, I think it's still completely fine to sign them up for summer programming. If you're going to miss 2 out of 3 weeks, 2 out of 5 weeks, or 3 out of 5 weeks, then I would say it's probably not the best fit. But we know things happen and we know that there's travel, and so are happy for children to still attend, even if they're going to miss a couple of days. And the waitlist question we just covered earlier. So we are happy to move kids off the wait list as spots open up, as families' plans change and they unenroll their children for the summer. There's not typically a tremendous amount of movement off the wait list, but whenever there is, we are eager to offer the spot to the next child. Anything else, Matthew, that I missed from those?
No, I think that about sums it up.
Unmute it. All right, so as I just wanted to open it up again for any folks who have just joined us, if they have any other questions around summer programming, anything else, any clarifying questions? Alrighty, so I'm gonna go back a couple of slides before we close off, just to make sure that, because we had a couple of people trickle in, and I just wanted to highlight again that we have the DCPS Reopen Strong website with all the information available to you. Everything you need is there. More information is added as it becomes available, so please feel free to go there. Also in the chat, entering again the DCPS email where you can send all your questions around summer school, summer programming. Oh, there you go. So if you have any questions or anything, you can email that email that's in the chat. I also wanted to highlight that on the website, I was playing around with it and trying to search for like different schools and what would show up. It's very simple, very easy to use. But we do have this list here, and we record this training. I just said this training. We record this session, so this will be available to you. If you want to have a screenshot of this, it will be there for you to see. And then lastly, I wanted just to highlight how you can be involved in summer learning as parent. Registering, I just want to highlight that again. Being like getting to know the summer, the folks are going to be working with your child during summer learning, like the teacher, like the other folks that are coming in to offer like enrichment, and then really talking to your child about what's going on during the summer. So yes, just wanted to highlight those things. Are there any other questions? Anything else that came up from parents? Feel free to put it in the chat or unmute.
Yes, my name is Daisha Harvey. Hi, my child will be going to the 2nd grade next year. Far as the school that they will be appointed to based off their grade level, what if they are transferring? Will we give you guys that information to the new school they're transferring to, so that way they would be able to register at that school for the summer program if they offer that?
Yep, thank you for your question.
You mean, let me just double check. So you mean your child is switching DCPS schools going into next year? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. Matthew, you want to?
Sure. I think what I would recommend is that you reach out. Actually, I would recommend reaching out to me, and I will put you in touch with my school. So the way we have it set up now, Ms. Harvey, like we definitely recognize that there's actually probably quite a few students who are moving around, moving from one DCPS school to another DCPS school, but our system doesn't, our registration system doesn't capture that. So what I would say is, if you could email me, and I can put my email address in, I think I can put my email address in here. Yes. I will put you in touch with my our summer school team who is handling registration, and we can take a look at the school, like the school that your child will be attending. Tell me which school your child will be attending in the fall, and we can see which of these sites it feeds into. But yes, we can for that. I mean, like I think Jen mentioned about like, you know, it needs to be extenuating circumstance. But in that case, obviously, if you're moving, I think that probably does count as an extenuating circumstance. It's just that our system's not set up to handle that unless you talk to somebody or contact someone. So please, Ms. Harvey, I put my email in the chat there. Please give me an email when you get a chance.
Thank you. I most certainly will. And this will actually be her first year in DC Public School. She's actually coming from a private school.
Okay.
So
Nice.
this will be her first year like in DC public school.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. That's so exciting. Any other questions or comments?
I had one last question. As far as in where my son is currently attending, my daughter will hopefully be attending there in the fall, but she's currently in pre-K 3 at a different school because they don't have pre-K 4 at our inbound school. Would she be eligible if she did get a lottery seat to attend the accelerator program?
She's currently in pre-K 3.
She's currently in pre-K 3, but at a different site because they don't have pre-K 3 in our inbounds elementary school in Ward 3.
Yeah, so the summer program is only for students who are currently in pre-K 4 through 4th grade.
Okay.
So yeah, either way, it wouldn't work, unfortunately. But next summer.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So there is a question about the schedule, just to like revisit that. It's up on the screen now. I believe it was academics in the morning and enrichment in the afternoon, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Academics in the morning from 9 to 12. And then our enrichment, non-academic enrichment, I should say, is we try to make the academics enriching as well, but the non-academic enrichment is that kind of like basically around 1 when they finish lunch and recess to about until about 4 o'clock, depending on the partners are at the site.
Okay, thank you. So I am, if there are any other questions, please feel free to unmute or pop them in the chat. We are here for you. That's what Peer University is about, getting the answers right away and during these meetings. All right, so let's talk about where to find more information. So we put the website on the chat, just DCPS Reopen Strong /summer, and that's where you can find everything you need about summer learning programs. Where you can find a recording of this, as well as more information about DCPS and how you can engage with us. You can find that information on our social media. We post things. If you send us a message on social media, I'm the one who sees that, so you'll get an answer from me. Look forward to engaging with you there. To ask about how you felt about this